So for today's tip, I want to talk about something more on the psychological side that I think is very helpful to advisors, to business owners, that really has helped me. And that is the idea that we all kind of can suffer from imposter syndrome from time to time. An imposter is someone who really is showing up and trying to fool other people, right, into believing that they are something that they're not. Now, a true imposter actually kind of reminds me of that old musical, The Music Man. Do you remember that old movie where he comes into town and he swindles everybody that trying to make them think that he can somehow teach their kids music and they need a band. And he gets them all sold on this idea. And he basically is a salesperson that leaves town or is on his way out of town. He's done this several times. He does change his ways. He does a change of heart, and there's some reconciliation. So it's a good story. However, that is a true imposter, right? A steak salesman, whatever you want to, oil salesman, etc. That is a true imposter. Now, when you have values, you want to rely on those values. Otherwise, what happens is the imposter syndrome can turn into avoidance behaviors because you're afraid. Because you're afraid of standing on stage, writing a book, being in front of that big client, or whatever fear it might be at your own business or even in your personal life in achieving those goals you have set. So with solid goals, sometimes comes those thoughts of, am I really doing this? Am I really who I say I am? When those thoughts come up, again, you kind of have two choices. Some people put off those big things of meeting with that big client, preparing for that proposal, getting that plan in place, meeting with a business partner, whatever it is. And they kind of fill their schedule with things that aren't as important. They jump to those things that are below their sweet spot activities, those top 3 to 5, and they do things that aren't quite as important because they're afraid. And some of that fear can come from that imposter syndrome. So avoid those avoidance behaviors. And here's what I suggest you do. One is I suggest anytime that you feel those imposter syndrome type emotions, or those you think those thoughts, I'm not really this great or whatever, I want you to go to your values, and I want you to simply recite something from your values that connects you to the person that you know you are. That way this will help you. So for me, if it's something in business, somebody sent me a bad review or somebody had a problem, I'm going to fix it. But first, I'm going to take care of the emotional things, and I'm going to take care of my thoughts, and I'm going to remind myself I'm honest, I'm successful, I'm helpful. Those are my 3 business values. And if I can keep saying that to myself, then the next thing I will do is I will stay in those top 3 to 5 activities and not go to those avoidance behaviors to help soothe myself, to help, delay the inevitable. I'm going to work on it. I've been on lots of stages. I'm writing this book and it's getting published this month. And with that, there comes a lot of fear, right? The imposter syndrome. Like if I don't have my office perfect, I'm not balancing my ideal calendar, there becomes that imposter syndrome comes right up to my mind. So in your practices, in your businesses, hope you apply this, hope you take it away. And really the question that I want to bring up for discussion for here and elsewhere is, what is imposter syndrome like for you? And what are those avoidance behaviors that you typically find yourself in?